like the most emotional element, of course, is Spear himself. His return as a zombie-like figure. It's handled with a lot of like restraint and so much tragedy rather than just like shocking gimmickry or something like that. Like Spear, he's no longer just a man fighting to survive. He's kind of now caught between life and death. Like he's certainly driven by that instinct and rage, but all of that, like now more than ever, it just feels so sad and so tragic. And he was already such a sad and tragic figure to begin with, based on what we saw happen to him in season 1 and season 2 and everything that he's lost over time. And I think just the episode makes excellent use of his altered state. I'm a big fan of Jen Tartakovsky's work. Watching Dexter's Laboratory back in the day, I love that show. That little American kid with a Russian accent who hid his laboratory from his parents, constantly had to deal with his very destructive sister, Dee Dee. Wonderful series. Also, I really loved his contributions to Powerpuff Girls. Those episodes that he worked on back in the day were excellent. Samurai Jack was one of my absolute favorite things that he's ever done. Just, obviously influenced by iconic, samurai films, Japanese cinema, things like, Conan the Barbarian, right? Just such a wonderful show. And, was able to come back after so many years and complete that story with its 5th season. And also stuff like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. It was really the first thing that made the prequels cool, because the movies certainly didn't make the prequels cool. Like, yeah, sadly those failed, but that show said like, oh no, you can do something good with those terrible movies, and he certainly proved that. And he's just a very talented creator. Like him and his team, they've produced some amazing stuff over the last, God knows, this was like 30 years now, Chad, over 30 years. But I also love Primal. I love Primal season 1 and season 2, both seasons. The whole concept, of course, it's about a caveman as dinosaur, Spear and Fane, caveman and dinosaur respectively. Taking place in this world that's prehistoric. It's a mixture of like dinosaurs and the flora and fauna of that world. But then you also have like magic and cults and ancient civilizations at war with each other. Again, all very influenced by Conan the Barbarian. Beautifully told through some stellar 2D animation. Minimal dialogue, which has always been kind of like a trademark of Gendy's. A lot of his work. It was perfect. Like, I think season 1 and season 2 are masterpieces, and season 2 ends in such a way where it's like, well, what are you going to do now? Which, spoilers, in case you don't know, season 2 ends with the death of Spear. And you see his children, live on. And I just assumed like, oh, okay, well, we're going to follow the next generation, essentially. That's what's, of Mira, which was that woman he came upon at the end of the first season and was going after and trying to help and rescue in season 2, before he died, they did the deed, chat, and she popped out 2 little babies. Right, and so he's thinking like, oh, well, excuse me, one baby. That Fane had the other kid, but it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cool. That we're gonna follow the next generation. Like, his time is done, but now here we go. But apparently not. It's been revealed, obviously that it's not at least initially not gonna be focused on the next generation, but actually Spear as a zombie, which when I first heard that, I'm thinking like, well, that's kind of goofy. But I gotta tell you, chat, after watching the first episode, it's working so far. It's working really well. And I guess if you want more of a structured synopsis, Primal season 3, it essentially follows Spear after his death and really unnatural resurrection as a zombie, as a means to seek out revenge. And it reintroduces him essentially as just this monstrous zombie-like force that's struggling constantly between instinct and rage and remnants of his lost humanity, of trying to remember his memories, And with the first episode in general, just kind of showcasing his incredible rage, but also of his scattered memories of his past with his family and with his experiences with Fane, his dinosaur. And honestly, like, Primal Season 3, it feels less like a reset, and it's just more of this grim continuation of the show's just brutal, wordless myth-making. You know, picking up sometime after the devastating ending of Season 2. Like, some time has obviously passed, but it picks up with just this just sheer absolute confidence in itself, which was really cool. I mean, it goes right into it. It's not like, all right, well, here's some, like, let's focus on some of these other characters. Like, nope, we're picking up with Spear. He's a zombie. If you're not going to get on board, then get off the train. It's essentially what's, get off the dinosaur saddle. And the world of Primal, like, it's always just been defined by its cruelty, its shock and awe, its fleeting beauty. It's quickly taken away. And this premiere just overall, like, really leans hard into that identity. You know, the series, it still operates in a space that feels somewhat prehistoric at times, but now it's more than ever, like, spiritually timeless. Like, you still have gods and curses and all the survival sensibilities. That's all coexisting with each other, no question. But we're starting to see more advanced civilizations pop up now, and technology too. And just more familiar flora and fauna as well. And so it starts to make you question, like, how much time has actually passed between Season 2 and Season 3? It's very interesting. And again, like the past seasons before Season 3, what's so impressive about this first episode is how little exposition the episode needs. You know, the story and the world at this point just feels so lived in now. And the show just trusts us as the viewer to understand the emotional and thematic stakes without ever feeling the need to overly spell them out. And just, like, the most emotional element, you know, of course, is Spear himself. You know, his return as a zombie-like figure. It's handled with a lot of, like, restraint and so much tragedy rather than just, like, shocking gimmickry or something like that. Like, Spear, he's no longer just a man fighting to survive. He's kind of now caught between life and death. Like, he's certainly driven by that instinct and rage, but all of that, like, now more than ever, it just feels so sad and so tragic. And he was already such a sad and tragic figure to begin with, based on what we saw happen to him in Season 1 and Season 2 and everything that he's lost over time. And I think just the episode makes excellent use of his altered state, his zombie state, like, showing how his strength and his physical power has really increased while his humanity just feels so frayed now. You know, it's there constantly, but it's just fighting to come back. And the way that they showcase that through the animation is just really, really beautiful. It's always, like, a little hazy. You know, always tinged with a lot of sadness and beauty, like, within this first episode. And Jendi and his team, like, the animation across the board just remains one of the show's, like, greatest strengths. And this episode, again, is just no exception. Like, the movement for everything, for even the most subtle of motions to, you know, the action where people are getting ripped apart and you feel these impacts. It's so weighty. It's so deliberate, so chunky. Making just every step and blow and just stagger just feel physically impactful and even exhausting at times. Like, the animation does such a great job of just selling Spear's new condition, you know, through changes in his posture, you know, his timing, his overall expressions, or in some cases lack thereof. But when he does express himself, then I think it's even more impactful. You know, like, now, like, it says so much within, like, a single glance, a single, like, you know, a subtle eye movement than really dialogue ever could. And not that, like, you know, Spear ever made use of a lot of dialogue. It was very limited to begin with. And that, again, I think that's always been kind of the hallmark of a lot of Jendi's, you know, work. I'm going to let the animation be the storyteller. And the audience can either get on board or not get on board. But for the most part, I think we're all on board. He's a fantastic visual storyteller. And he really does prove the saying of less is more. And that's certainly the case with many of his shows in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, in Samurai Jack, and probably more than ever in Primal. And the backgrounds, they are just so beautiful to behold, like, more so than ever now. It feels like this season, they gave him even more money to play with. They're just so richly textured, full of everything you can imagine in this world, in this prehistoric world that feels so timeless. You know, you have just a great combination of decay, hostility, so much beauty, and just reinforces that this world is so dangerous and just actively rejecting anything that dares to exist within it. And that's what makes Spears' zombie journey so harrowing to witness, at least so far in this first episode, in these 22 minutes. And the violence, as you would expect, it's raw, it's uncompromising as ever. But at the same time, it never feels too gratuitous. Instead, I think it just as the past seasons have, it just underlines the horror of Spears' overall existence and just the savagery, the pure, unbridled savagery, just of the world around him. Like all the combat scenes, they're all messy, they're all desperate, you know, but they're brutal in a way that feels emotional. Draining at times, but also really exciting, especially now that Spears seems like incapable of just escaping this cycle of destruction that he's been trapped in for 3 seasons now. And what ultimately makes, I think, just this first episode work so well is just this overall mood. You know, there's like this really pervasive sense of sorrow and sadness hanging over the episode. Again, also just paired with like that trademark violence and horror, it just gives these 22 minutes like real emotional weight. And it gets into the question of like what is identity and you know, the concept of loss, where he's lost so much and now he's lost his humanity. You know, seemingly lost his humanity. Like, you know, you start to ask questions like, okay, what's going to happen to Spear now? You know, when is his family, where is his family from season 2? You know, that he doesn't even know exist. Are they dead? You know, how much time has passed between season 2 and 3? These are questions I think we'll get answers to throughout the course of this season. But so far, man, this first episode, it's haunting. It's so confident. It's such a confident return that proves the series still has, like, it's so powerful and it can be very unsettling. And as I've been saying, just really beautiful. I think it has some like really other beautiful nooks and crannies that it can go to and explore. And I'm very excited to see what they're going to end up doing with this show, especially because when I heard about zombie Spear, I'm like, that sounds goofy, but I was like, wow, they really nailed it. They did such a great job. At least so far in these first 22 minutes. It's 10 episodes this season. Can't wait to watch the other 9. I'll be sure to come back once they wrap this season. But my first impressions, it is fantastic. And honestly, I expect nothing less, especially because of how great the previous 2 seasons were. But what about you guys? Did you like Primal Season 3? Have you seen the first episode of Season 3? Are you a fan of the series overall? But if you have seen, you're like, Chris, I loved it. Or you're more like, Chris, I don't care about this zombified Spear. No, thank you. That's too ridiculous, man, all right? Caveman riding a dinosaur into battle fighting man-bat creatures? That's more realistic. Or do you downright hate it? It's like, I don't like Primal, I don't like Jendy's work. No, thank you.
5 minutes later.
Loco. Hi, Chris and chat. Yay for Primal Season. It's so good. Have you seen a Loco? Whoo, baby. Very impressed. Loco has a fascinating start and pretty curious to see what happens. Me too, man. Again, as I was saying, I was like, I don't know about this. Like, again, on paper, I was like, okay, he's a zombie, but I'm like, okay, you got me. All right, let's see where this goes. It's pretty good. So, yeah, Austin says he really liked it. Edgy Berserker, come in. Extremely tired. Good to have you here, Edgy. Look, I'm sorry that you're tired. Yeah, I get it, but I'm glad to have you here. Hopefully I could put a little pep in your step, have some good quality conversation. We're going to get into some Jackbox in just a bit, which should be fun. Big Guy thinks season opening reviews are a good idea. Gets me hyped to watch. Yeah, I think so. Like, I hope you like these 2 reviews. Just kicking myself in the butt for getting to put my like little aesthetic accoutrements for Hero. Yeah, but sentenced to be a hero, that is. But I'll fix it in post. Don't worry about it.